Is Terraforming Mars an approachable turn-based strategy game that comes in a digital board game format? Or is it a card game disguised as a board game sitting in a digital format that really doesn't do you any favors? Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. You might already be groaning when I tell you that we are reviewing yet another digital board game here on Strategy for Busy People. But before you click into some cat video or watch some literal car wreck instead, stay tuned, because I don't hate this one. Don't let the fact that I only spent about 1 hour and 30 minutes playing Terraforming Mars by Artefacts Studio fool you. Now, the relatively short playtime here isn't because the game is bad. Quite the contrary. Terraforming Mars deals with one of my favorite topics: space. You know we like space stuff on this channel. What we usually struggle with are digital board games. But Terraforming Mars is probably one of the lightest weight digital board games we've played thus far. The overall premise is, unsurprisingly, Terraforming Mars. The game is a bit of a deck builder, where the board is a series of hexes, a few of which have some special properties. Each turn sequence starts with you purchasing cards to add to your hand. You can then play cards out of your hand, paying their cost, and earning whatever bonus, status, or other thing that they provide. Some cards modify the board by placing things like cities or oceans. These things you place provide you various bonuses, penalties, or whatever during the upkeep phase of the game. Things might raise the temperature of Mars, or raise the oxygen level. There are different generations of the terraforming process, and each one has slightly different rules? Sort of? Ultimately, at the end of the game, a score is tallied, which takes into account all of the things that you've done. This is actually a pretty typical gaming trope and will feel familiar to you if you've played things like Ticket to Ride. One of the really nice things about this being a digital board game is that the computer knows all of the rules. Certain cards you might play will provide permanent status effects that change how either upkeep or even the behavior of other cards goes. For example, a card might change your energy production level, which would affect your math during each upkeep phase. Trying to remember all of the pluses and minuses that affect each of these categories would be a pain. But digitally, you don't even have to think about it. Cards can have tags, and then other cards' behaviors depend on the quantity of tags that you have in play. One card causes certain actions by other players to earn you money each time the action happens. I can't tell you how many times I've played real board games where you get through 3/4 of your turn and then suddenly realize you forgot to account for some stupid math trick from 10 minutes ago, and then you try to unwind what happened over the last 2 turns to figure out how much of thing X you should actually have. Again, in digital land, this is super easy. If there's one drawback to Terraforming Mars, there are a lot of cards in the deck, and they all do a wide range of things. There are quite a few resources to manage, and a few different strategic elements to earning points. Ultimately, the game is simple in that your goal is to raise the oxygen level and temperature of Mars to the top of the range, at which point the game is over and the points get calculated. But the process by which you do that, and which strategies you employ to do that, is where the challenge lies. Sure, this game is more complicated than Ticket to Ride, but there are similar enough concepts that it would not be a horrible jump to go from a game like TTR to Terraforming Mars. It's definitely a bump up in strategic complexity, but it wouldn't take too many playthroughs before you figure out some things. My 1.5 hours in the game was one playthrough. However, if I played more, I'd gain more familiarity with the cards, know what I was looking for, and have some strategic ideas, and I bet the game would move even faster. Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share with your friends. Agree with me? Disagree with me? Or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. Want to try this game yourself? Check out my humble affiliate link below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict. I've said many times that I do like board games, but I hadn't found one that I felt was approachable enough to stick with. I can definitely see Terraforming Mars becoming a go-to for a flight, or just on a night when you want something laid back that requires thinking but not a lot of quote-unquote investment. I would not, though, expect to successfully pause in the middle of a game and then be able to come back to it, even if saving does afford you that ability. On my trademarked 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, Terraforming Mars will totally scratch that digital board game itch for you, and can fit in that casual space, unlike some other titles that demand tons and tons of plays to figure out. At least you don't have to worry about spilling coffee on the physical board? And what kind of monster spills coffee at all?